Hello and welcome to Spotlight Indie. I'm your host, Frasier Armitage, part-time robot, full-time nerd, author of New Yesterday, Time's Ellipse, and A Stitch Between Worlds. And if you don't know that by now, then obviously you're not listening. But that's basically me. Um, there is a fantastic opportunity to get to know PL Stuart a little bit more in this episode of Roll for Insight. But before we do that, let's introduce my favorite co-host in the world. It is the Princess of Grimdark, H.L. Tinsley. Holly, how goes it?
It goes well, thank you. We won't tell Alex that you said that, Frasier. We'll keep it on the download just between us three, so that he doesn't get upset about you saying that I'm your favourite co-host.
In the world, Holly.
In the
I'll stand
world.
by it. Yeah, in the world.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
And when Alex is here, he's my favourite.
I mean, that's very fair.
No, I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm glad that you're doing awesome.
I am. I actually have some exciting news to share, Frasier, if I'm allowed to segue into a little update before we get started.
Please do.
Thank you very much. So I had the absolute pleasure of going down to our wonderful venue for the 2025 event, the Nerdy Cafe, earlier this week to meet up with the wonderful Katie, who is helping us to put the event on. And we got to see all the exciting things that are going on in the cafe at the moment. They have some amazing work that is happening. And most exciting of all is that they will be shortly starting their community library. They're going to start work on it very soon. They already have a little stockpile of indie author books, which is very exciting. But I do want to put a call out if you are an indie author and you are watching this and you have a spare book lying around. We will link the website for the cafe in the description below. Any books that you could donate to them would be greatly appreciated. They are an incredible bunch of people doing so much for the community, and they are so happy and enthusiastic to work with indie authors and to get their work out into the world and in front of people who want to explore that. So please do send them some books because they thoroughly deserve our support. And we love nerdy. Frasier, back to you.
Speaking of amazing indie books, PL is here. How's it going, PL?
Oh, thank you so much for having me back, Frasier and Holly. And Holly, just it is so amazing what you're doing for the community. Of all the wonderful things you do, I think I mentioned before what a great leader you are in the community, and all the altruistic things you do. This is definitely something that more and more of us need to get involved with. So yeah, if you're listening, watching this particular episode, yeah, get out there and get Holly your books, so they can add them to this brilliant library. So
I feel like I was always curious as to where Holly got so much confidence as a writer from, but obviously it's just hanging out with you, PL, because you say such amazing.
Have you read her books? Her books are freaking amazing. She's an SBFEO finalist. She doesn't need anything from me. Seriously,
Point proven.
She should have quite a lot of confidence. She's a proven author. So
I love it. I love that this is what it's like in the indie community, where there's just so much love for each other, isn't there? There's so much support. It's the bomb.
It's great. Every time I have a conversation with PL, I have to struggle to get my head through the door when I leave because it's just been inflated that much. I would also like to say as well that I really appreciate those lovely words, PL, but big shout out to the wonderful team that is behind all of the things that we are doing, because I do very little work in the grand scheme of things. So Frasier, Alex, Amber, Jamie, Tim, Katie, Chris at Nerdy, they are doing so much work. So I am happy to sit and take credit that I genuinely do not deserve 90% of, but I also want to make sure that they get the credit they deserve too.
Nah, all the credit goes to Holly. Holly's smashing it. And also, I have to say that, otherwise I will lose my job. Today, we are going to be rolling for Insight. Holly, what are the rules of Roll for Insight? Just so that PL knows what we're actually going to do.
So for PL and anyone who has not watched an episode before, Roll for Insight is our game that we like to play. It is an interview style game where we have 20 questions and we roll a 20-sided dice. Whatever number comes out on the dice, that is the question that we will ask. The questions range from the deep and insightful to the mildly ridiculous. So we shall see what happens when we roll for insight.
Woohoo! So
right,
PL,
bring it on.
Do you have your D20 dice to hand? Roll away, PL.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's roll. um, 16.
16, popular number. Popular number with the digital dice. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being very likely and 1 being completely unlikely, how likely is your fictional world to get a 5-star review on TripAdvisor?
I would say a 3, because there are some in terms of scenery, it's beautiful, it's stunning. You know, in terms of places like Atlantis, it is supposedly, you know, the pinnacle of civilization, and you know, with these massive towers, the Circle City, which is this marvelous, iconic, you know, architectural masterpiece. You know, you have, you know, beautiful countryside. You know, places like Crimea. You know, you have you know, all these different climates and cultures, and you go across to Namibia, which is analogous to Africa. So you have all these. It's stunning from a visual aspect. That was a pretty harsh, dark, brutal world with a lot of, you know, people trying to kill each other. You know, and so you know, I would say that, you know, yeah, the accommodations would get, you know, 8s and 9s, and the scenery would get 9s and 10s, but you really don't want to be there for any length of time if you value your life, right? And the life of the average middle class person isn't very pleasant, and certainly the life of those who are less fortunate definitely isn't, unless you're in the upper echelon of society, royals, and even then, that means that you're typically having to fight for your survival, constantly warring against some of the nation. Yeah, it's not really a great place to be.
So unless you're prepared to, like, you know, kill a few incendiary characters, you're gonna give it like a 3. But yeah, I mean, if killing characters is your thing, like people that come up to you and you've got a sword and an axe, and that's your idea of an ideal holiday, it's getting 10s all around, PL.
Yeah, I guess so. If that's your bag, for sure. Yeah. Might be a short trip.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, last week we were talking about heads in jars, you know, that might be all that's left, you know, after a trip, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. Holly, what would you like to roll for the next number on the dice?
I would. I'd also like to say, with that question, I feel like it says a lot about the genre that an author works in, because I feel like if you're a grimdark or a dark fantasy author, you're probably going to say, you know, it's a 1 or 2% chance you're going to get a good TripAdvisor review. If you're doing something like cozy fantasy, then great, yeah, good TripAdvisor reviews all around. You know, Legends and Lattes, that's got to be up there.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's good for a holiday, but would you want to live there? Like, it's
in a magical coffee shop, yes.
Nah, you'd get sick of the coffee. You'd be like, bring me some war and blood, like, you know. No, I feel like even like that applies with like sci-fi, like even like Star Trek. You think, well, Star Trek is utopian, 100%. You're not one of the bridge crew. You're going down in a blaze of glory in the first 20 minutes. You know, it's like if we're talking about TripAdvisor, you know, it's a very layered question. That's what it is.
It is. Okay, right. Let's see what I get. And again, I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm going to have to peer at the dice now. That is an 8.
An 8. Holly, what's your weirdest indie author goal?
Oh, have I got to answer this first, have I?
Yeah, you got to answer it first, and then we're throwing it over to PL.
Okay. So I love the idea of all these small like goals and milestones that the authors want to reach. So, of course, everyone wants to reach the goal of selling hundreds of thousands of copies. That goes without saying. But things like, I love it when you get authors who sign books and hide them, and then you see someone find it and share it on social media. I always think that is a lot of fun. And I like when people do fan art as well. So that would be an author goal for me, is if someone did fan art of Vanguard or Cam from the Hallows. I don't know if any of those would qualify as being weird, but I would love for somebody to get a Holly Tinsley writing related tattoo. That would be my weird author goal. Like if somebody had Vanguard's dagger or the Providence Company logo or something, anything like that, or a quote, like just someone who would get ink of my work would be like the echelons of author goals for me. And I've seen it done. I've seen other people do it. So it could happen.
I think that the ultimate tattoo for your work, Holly, would be a tattoo of you laying out on a sofa eating crisps while reading one of your books.
Yes, if anybody wants to get a tattoo of me lying on the sofa eating crisps, I will pose that for you so that you can give it to the tattoo artist to work from. We will make that happen.
You heard it here first on Spotlight Indie. PL, what's your weirdest indie author goal?
Mine is so weird. It's kind of, it's kind of self-absorbed, and I don't feel like I'm normally like this, but I gotta be. I'm nothing if not honest. I would love if, and it has nothing to do so much with the books, I would love if someone kind of made me as a character. It's already happened in a way, but someone made me as a character in their book. And if you want, you can give me a glorious death, or maybe survive the whole series. Or I'm not going to curtail the creative freedom of the author, but I would love to be a character in somebody's book. I would only want someone that knows me well, like a Holly or a Tim, or when I'm like to do it, because obviously, just again for selfish reasons. But I'd love to be a character in someone's book, and I just think it would be a really neat thing. I think it'd be kind of cool.
My weirdest author goal is to get a 1-star review from somebody who had like the book arrive damaged. That to me, like that would be, that's like, I have made it. I'm in the big leagues because like somebody's like not even read it, not even anything. They've just gone, this book arrived damaged. Like that to me is like, that's once you've got that, you don't need anything else. Like as an indie author.
I love the different scales of ambition we have, where Frasier's like, oh, I'd like to get a 1-star review, and PL's there going, oh, I'd like to be a character in a book. And I'm like, I'd like someone to permanently tattoo their body with my face.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I feel like there's somebody out there that could probably achieve all three of those things. Like there's...
Oh, if it was the same person.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
That's the challenge for anybody who's like watching this. Yeah, who can do PL justice in a book, who can tattoos Holly's face like justice, and who can order a book of mine and then badmouth it. That would be, if you are there, let us know in the comments, because that would be amazing. I'm gonna roll for insight. Oh, it's an 8. Number 16. What's going on? 13.
There you go.
Lucky number 13.
Oh yeah. So this is a question I'm going to throw over to you first, PL, and then we'll work it back around. Because I can do that because I'm the host. So question 13. What keeps you going on days when you feel like you want to give up?
Well, there's a few things. My faith, I think that's one thing. Definitely my wonderful wife, Debbie, who is my partner in all things, and also my business manager in this crazy indie entrepreneurial thing that I do. And third, and definitely my friends such as Holly, that who are a constant source of just hope and courage and positivity and encouragement and commiseration over I think those three things, my faith, my wife, and of course my family at large, but predominantly Deb, who I share we share everything with, and my friends like Holly in the community that they're there's certainly enough buoyancy between those three things that keep me going when it's a bad day as a writer. And I think, to be honest with you, they're getting fewer and farther between those really bad days. I mean, there may be something going on personally that maybe is positive, but in terms of the writing, I just find that, and maybe that's just, you get more, I don't want to say hardened, but you definitely develop a thicker skin as time goes on. But then, you get to that point where, okay, you're rolling and you've written 4 or 5 or 6 books, and you're kind of like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And, you're going to get good reviews, you're going to get bad reviews. I think your outlook is a lot more realistic than perhaps it was when you started, and you get a bit more seasoned in the game, and I think you learn to embrace the successes more and kind of leave a lot of the rest behind. And if you can't leave behind, you talk it out with, your wife, or, I'll message a group and Holly and Bill's peeps, and, we'll talk about it, and kind of flush it, and you move on. All right. And then next thing we're all celebrating someone's success, a big review, or, some new book coming out or whatever. And then it's all good again. So
that's awesome. What about you, Holly?
Caffeine and belligerence.
That would be a great band name.
Oh, wouldn't it just? In terms of things that get me through, like the hard times, difficult times, I think it's the same in writing as it is in probably my personal life. And that's two things. First is, I think after a while and after a certain amount of experience, you get to understand the amount to which you can bend before you break. So I think you become more aware of your own personal limitations, and also that those limitations go a lot further than you think. So sometimes I think things can look really bleak, or it can feel like you're having a terrible day. And if you look at it in the context of how far, as I say, you can bend before you break, you realize that there is a lot that you can tolerate before, it's going to be rock bottom and everything's terrible and it's a disaster and you can't possibly cope. And I think to know when you need to step back before that breaking point is really healthy and really important. And I think the second thing is to learn what hills you want to die on. And this is one of my favorite phrases, because we can get so het up in things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. So, worrying that, my book's gone out and I found a typo in it. It's, well, do you know what? Shit happens. It's not the end of the world. Is this something that you're going to stay awake for the next 6 weeks worrying about? Of course it's not. No, it's just, it's happened. It's not the end of the world. Just know when things are important enough to care about and when they're not important, and you can let them go. So that's kind of what gets me through the difficult times. That and crying and flailing.
On the sofa with crisps. So for me, my technique is threefold. First, ice cream. Always. I mean, I'm not supposed to eat dairy, but who cares? If it's a bad day, ice cream is essential. It's an essential part of a writer's toolkit. Secondly, the shower. Because pretty much 99% of my ideas come, like good ideas, come when I'm in the shower. So like if I'm like, oh, this is going terribly, I want to give up, I'm not a good writer, I'll hop in the shower and then suddenly I'll come out of it and be like, oh, that's a good idea. So that kind of like renews me a bit, especially if that is followed, by ice cream. And then the third thing that helps me is sleep. Because quite often I will be having a bad day because I'm just so overwhelmed by life in general that what I just need is a good kip. So a nap, a shower, and some ice cream. Where's the bad day in that? It's just that's living the dream every day. And also like my family and friends who I'm on to about things, and all of that kind of stuff, and all of the extra lovely, wonderful things that people have said already. But no, it's all about the ice cream, the shower, and the sleep.
Yeah, I feel that was 4 things though, because I feel like it was ice cream, shower, ice cream, sleep.
Ice cream, shower, ice cream, sleep, ice cream.
Yeah.
100%. The more ice cream you can layer in, the less of a bad day you can have.
It has to be bookended by ice cream. Like ice cream at the beginning and ice cream at the end, right? Like the alpha and the omega, like ice cream.
Like an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
Why aren't we writing books in ice cream? Like this is what we should be doing. Just like mold them, and then like you eat the words as you read, and then it's just like it's the ultimate book, right? Who else? It's like that's a great idea. Don't tell me it's not.
On the Frasier.
We are now entering the speed round. So PL, you got to roll fast. You got to answer fast.
Okay, so let me roll. 11.
What's your favorite opening line in a book? Can be indie or trad.
This is a real coincidence So my favorite opening line in a book, or in any of the books that I've read, actually comes from your esteemed co-host, Miss Holly Tinsley. So, for those of you who are not aware, Holly Tinsley writes the greatest opening lines in the dark fantasy period. Holly has a better voice than I. However, let's put it this way. I would ask Holly to give us the opening line from her book to say
Oh
what
my
that
god,
line is.
I love that you assume that I remember my own first line, PL. So, because I'm gonna be, I hate reading my own stuff. Okay, so the opening line to Women of Ash and Shadow is, "It was the most highly recommended venue the city had to offer. It was called the Ring of Bastards, and it had the lowest patron to murder victim rate in a 5-mile radius."
That is gold. That is gold. That is gold. That is absolute gold. I'm sorry, you gotta indulge me though for one more, because the line in book 2, the hand that casts the bone, is equal. And these are lines that I have in my head. I didn't want to give Holly the ability to say it as the author. I didn't want to speak for her, but I have to give you the line from book 2 in Vegar, the hand that casts the bone. The opening lines. "There was an indisputably distinct smell to the hook. Downwind, the neighborhood had the aroma of an old wet dog. Upwind, it wasn't much better. Given that the city had been unseasonably warm for weeks, there was no longer anywhere you could escape it." It just awesome. Gold.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
What about you, the queen of opening lines? What's yours? What's your favorite?
So, if we're talking traditionally published, my favourite opening line of any book ever is the opening line of Perfume by Patrick Suskind, which is, "In 18th century France, there lived a man who was one of the most gifted and abominable personages in an era that knew no lack of gifted and abominable personages," which I just think is perfection. Like, I love that opening line. It tells you everything that you need to know about that book. Indie author-wise, let me just consult my Kindle because I'm going to actually read it for you. Okay, so this is my current favourite. It does change based on my mood, but I love a good, short, sharp opening line. So this is from Clayton Snyder's Blackthorn, and the opening line is, "I shut my eyes and tried to ignore the ghost in the yard." And I just think that is so punchy, and it immediately drew me in. And yeah, I really like that one.
I like pretty much all of the opening lines in a Philip K. Dick story because there's always something weird about them.
Yeah.
Like, you'll think you know that everything's fine, and then it'll just like sideswipe you. But I also have a particular love of this one thing from a P.G. Wodehouse book. It's like the opening to Summer Lightning, and it said he starts off before the story with like the little author's note. So if that classes as an opening line, this is my favorite. "A certain critic, for such men I regret to say do exist, made the nasty remark about my last novel that it contained all the old Wodehouse characters under different names. He's probably by now been eaten by bears like the children who made mock of the prophet Elisha, but if he still survives, he will not be able to make a similar charge against Summer Lightning. With my superior intelligence, I have outgeneraled the man this time by putting in all the old Wodehouse characters under the same names. Pretty silly it will make him feel, I rather fancy." I love that.
I mean, that's beautiful.
I love it, right? It's like boom.
It's amazing. I mean, that's like putting a burn into the first line of a book is next level genius.
Yeah, it's like, and it's also telling the audience like, this is exactly what you expect it's going to be. And also, it's all good. Like, I don't know how to write any other way. It's all fine. It's like, it's such a like, I just love it. I love the whole attitude of that. It's great. Like,
I love that this is supposed to be our quick fire round, and this has been like the longest question.
Yeah, but when you edit it down, it's just going to be like,
boom. Yeah, boom.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Holly, quick fire.
Okay, like, we'll try and do a quick fire one this time. So that is a 2.
A 2.
A 2.
What's your favorite book adaptation in film, TV, or game?
Oh, for me, I would have to say it's tough. I'm gonna go with Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings. That is probably one of the best book to film adaptations ever. I think it was actually incredible. So yeah,
amazing. Cannot be beaten in terms of fantasy. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it. I already know what Holly's is. Holly's is Arcane. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. If you go back on previous episodes, you'll hear Holly talking a lot about Arcane.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
This is what Frasier won't let me answer because he doesn't want to have to hear it all over again. He's like, I'm so bored of hearing it.
I rolled a 13. What is going on? Like, a 3. Woohoo! Okay, have you shed a tear over one of your characters or chapters?
Yes. Oh, many. I'm that emotional wreck that does that. Yeah. Do I need to say? Well, I can say one without spoilers. Yeah. I can say that in the current book that's about to be published, A Pack of Wolves, at the very end of the book, I shed a tear over the fate of one of the characters. I shed a tear. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure there will be many that share your tears, PL. It's gonna be so good. What about you, Holly?
I've definitely shed a tear, and I'm not an emotional person, and it wasn't necessarily about something I've written in the book, but certainly in the process of writing the third Vanguard book, where I know that some certain characters' arcs will be coming to an end. And I remember very distinctly, I was in the shower and it suddenly hit me that this one particular character wasn't going to be continuing in the story after this book. And I really got emotional about it. And I almost felt like I was losing a friend or someone that I knew. And I thought, this is ridiculous because I'm the author. I could just change this. I can, make them do something else, or I can bring them back, or I could magic them into something else. But I know that that's not going to work for the story, and I know I have to do this to make the story work. And it's really emotionally strange to feel that way about a fictional character that lives in your head, but it's something I think most of us probably relate to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. For mine, first book I ever wrote, I read it back. It was so terrible, I actually cried.
I mean, we all do that at the end of every first draft. You have a little cry because it's so bad, and then you pick yourself up and you get over it.
I got to a point whereby by about the 8th book that I wrote, which was the first one that I actually released as a debut novel, there is a character that goes through something in that, and writing that scene made me cry for the correct reasons. But yeah, if your writing's that bad, it makes you cry. Don't worry, we've all been there. Right, for the final round, we are going to all roll the dice at the same time, and PL, you get to choose which number. It's like, so when you're ready,
okay.
Roll.
All right.
What did you roll, PL?
5.
5. What about you, Holly?
A 15.
15, and I rolled an 18. So PL, you can choose 5, 15, or 18.
Well, let's go with let's go with Lady's Choice, and let's go with 18.
5. Oh, I like it. Okay, PL, which indie author has given you the best piece of advice?
I would say that's going to be Zach Argyle, who is a very popular indie author. One of my first friends in the community. It was funny, we caught up. I interviewed him for Six Elementals interview on my YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago, and we're catching up backstage and laughing and just reminiscing. Oh, do you remember when, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember when I first met Zach, one of the first things he said was that, essentially we're indies and I'm paraphrasing now here. No one's going to make our way for us. We're going to have to essentially make our way ourselves. And no one's going to, cry for us if our books don't sell, or if, we don't publish the next book, or, we have to make our own way ourselves, essentially. And that was fantastic advice.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Holly?
Well, I'm going to take a slightly different approach to this question, and I am going to say that the most useful piece of advice that I ever had from an indie author was from Lacey Connolly, who taught me how to put my book on Ingram Spark, because it is amazing to have all this support from the community and to have amazing advice like PL got from Zach, but sometimes what you need is someone to just show you how to do something practical. And I cannot tell you the hours and the sweat and the blood and the tears that Lee saved me by imparting that wisdom. So I will be forever grateful for that. So thanks, Lee, if you're watching.
I had a similar experience with EL Strife, talking me through how to go through Calibre and like format a book properly through that. So yeah, Alicia, you rock. But the most useful piece of advice, just in general life, that I've ever been given was been given me by Emily Inkpen, a friend of Spotlight Indie, and I can't tell you what it was. All I'm going to say is the word leg pop. And if Emily, if you're watching this, you will know. You will know. Thank you. That has been Roll for Insight. It's ended rather cryptically, hasn't it? But
it has. Very mysterious.
Yeah. But it's all good. One of these days, the story will reveal itself, and everyone will be like, "Leg pop,
leg pop."
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, PL, and Rolling for Insight, and getting to know you a little bit better through this mental game. So thank you very much.
So honored to be here. Thank you.
Where can people find you if they have their own questions they would like to fire your way?
Like a lot of us, especially indie authors, pretty accessible. Just the website plstuart.com. You can email me through there. All the socials, they're normally at plstuartwrites. So Twitter /X, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky. And Before I Go blog, led by the awesome Beth Tabler, where I'm an assistant editor. Their reviews on Goodreads, message me on Goodreads. I publish a lot of my reviews there. And of course, my BookTube channel, YouTube channel, PL Stuart, the Dragon Kingdom Saga, where I do 6 elemental interviews, and where also you can find lives that my wonderful colleague, maybe to the Pages Taylor, shares when we do page tuning interviews. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm easy to find.
Amazing. What about you, Holly?
Well, if anyone wants to find me to either offer to get my face tattooed on them or to give me suggestions for the first line of Vanguard 3, you can find me as @Holly Tinsley on Instagram, X, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can also find Spotlight Indie under all of the same socials. You can also visit our website, which is www.spotlightindie.co.uk. We have tickets for our 2025 event live on sale. They cost £5.49, which is an absolute bargain for all the indie goodness that you're going to get. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter and YouTube channel. So there are loads of ways to find us.
And remember that you can find all the details about the Nerdy if you want to donate books. All of their links will be down below. If you want to donate crisps for Holly's sofa experiences, you could probably send them to the same place. Just put them for the attention of HL Tinsley. They'll know who it is. So yeah, that's great. So send your crisps and books there, and we will see you next time when PL is going to help us to prove that there is no such thing as a stupid question.